Good morning, Hockey Nation Live followers, Pucks and Dreams fans. We were having some technical difficulties. Pierre will be joining me shortly. Today is June the 15th, is the morning after the second round began between the Montreal Canadiens and Las Vegas Knights last night. Let's see if we have any folks joining us. Apologize for all the technical difficulties this morning. And as I mentioned, Pierre will be joining us shortly. Didn't want to not kick off the stream. So some interesting news today that we'll talk about. One is we'll talk about the matchup and the game last night between the Las Vegas Golden Knights and the Montreal Canadiens. So, Montreal had been idle for a little bit, not too long, but after sweeping the Winnipeg Jets in the second round and after an improbable comeback where they won against the Toronto Maple Leafs after being down 3-1. So last night was an interesting matchup, and we'll talk about all the details of that. We'll also talk about the news coming out of New York about the next coach of the New York Rangers. And there were a few signings in the NHL last night, so hopefully people can join. Let us know if there's any topics that you'd like us to touch on. The major news probably is about the game last night, and then tonight we see game 2 of the other series, which is the New York Islanders versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, which will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. So let's just see. I wonder if Pierre's having internet trouble. I am not sure. I don't want to go too deep into the topic. Hopefully people see the broadcast now. I'm just going to double check on YouTube. Yep, there we are. All right, so we are live on both channels. Hopefully people see. Yep, that's live. You can hear me talking to myself. All right, so what did you think about the game last night between the Montreal Canadiens and the Las Vegas Golden Knights? What do you think this means for good morning, Jarmo. You can see I still have not only Detroit jersey, but the Finnish national jersey, which is Ville Peltonen. Thank you for joining us. I'm not sure if you were on the broadcast last night. Pierre, I'm not sure if he's having internet problems. Or if he's broadcasting separately. Yeah. Do you remember Ville Peltonen? I think he played for the Florida Panthers actually for a while, didn't he? He was a pretty good international player. I know he had some adjustments in the NHL. He played for Florida. Did he play for anybody else in the NHL? I can't remember. But he was a pretty good international player. I like Ville. Oh, San Jose, Nashville. So I guess he played for a few teams. I don't think he's playing anymore, is he? Let's take a look. No, he retired a while ago. Pierre said some internet problems. He'll restart. Okay, so that's what it is. All right, so just touching on the game last night, we know that the Montreal Canadiens came into the third round of the playoffs, probably an improbable in many people's mind run. Carey Price was absolutely stealing games against both the Winnipeg Jets and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, they had a few days off to kind of heal up. We know they had some injuries. Ville's head coach in the Finland big club. Oh, are they? Okay. Oh, and here's Pierre. Perfect. There we go, Pierre. Are there big storms in Florida?
No, the YouTube was working, but I cannot put you in.
Oh, there we go. Well, we're broadcasting. Did I spell Ranger wrong? Oh my God. I was like rushing. I'll check and fix it later, guys. Good morning, Jarmo. Good morning, NHL Hockey News Reports. There we go. All right. So to kick it off, we were just going to mention a couple things. The first topic of discussion has to be the Montreal Canadiens after a bit of a layoff. We had talked about this matchup before, and we saw last night that they faced the Las Vegas Golden Knights, who had a pretty tough series against a really good team prior. What was your impressions initially of the game last night and the matchup?
I think you have two things you pay attention when you review is the forecheck of the Vegas on the Montreal Canadiens exposed early. That will be the first thing you pay attention. The second thing is the flip side, the defenseman of Vegas and the transition on the offensive side was very and was very active and they create a lot of confusion on the D coverage of the Montreal Canadiens. It's I was set up like I caught two goals yesterday where missed communication, 5 players the same side. You have yesterday 2 goals on the back door. Holden, number 4, and then I think it was the number 3 and the number 2 of the Vegas. I think it was Martinez on that one over there, where again it was just a bad coverage for Montreal Canadiens. So Montreal have a chance in the beginning. I think they play 20 minutes of the 60 minutes, and Vegas take advantage of all the lack of. I would say the mistake, like Montreal 56-44 in face-off, so that's pretty great night, right? But 2 of the 4 goals is because they lose 2 times a face-off. So that's, like on the flip side, Carey Price was amazing. I see a lot of positivity about the game also for Montreal. The first 10 minutes, Montreal could score 2 goals. Fleury make a big save on the Gallagher one time, and then another one on Corey Perry. So you can, if you score at the beginning of the game like that, chance later, change the momentum after that. I'm happy about for Montreal the power play. Vegas struggle a lot on power play on the both sides. On power play, they are not great, and on PK they struggle also since the beginning of the playoff. Montreal the puck movement, that's what I called it. 1 Goalfield score. I said power play is going to score Montreal. They got it, but again, I don't call this like undisciplined, but Montreal have 4 penalties yesterday. You cannot be in the penalty box if you want to win those games about that one over there. So, but at the end of the day, the best team win yesterday, and that show yesterday who they are. It's a 4 big line, big guy, physicality is great. The D step up yesterday, 6 point of the game from the D. Fleury, I think Carey Price was great. Could be 7-1 at some point, but also Fleury can give 3 goals. Fleury was great also for the Vegas. But that's happening like that way. That's the way I describe the game for the Montreal Canadiens.
So we can welcome some of our friends that are here. Carey Price, for one, had a busy night last night, and he makes a good point, which is they had shots from everywhere, and some were deflected. But that's kind of Vegas's game, right? Like a lot of their offense is generated by shooting from the point. The D contribute offensively, and they look for junk in front. And that's what we talked about before the game started. Yeah, because they've got Max Pacioretty, they got Mark Stone, they got a lot of guys that will go inside and get junk. And absolutely, they're going to try to create confusion that way, and they're going to be much more difficult to handle in scoring areas, I think, than any team that Montreal's faced so far. And last night.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that one over there. Again, it's I think if Montreal stopped to skating in the second period, also I think that was another problem. But again, this because the puck transition of the Vegas, they play one side. It's easy.
They don't mess around.
they go to the blue line. Usually they dump the puck and then they chase the puck. The first one pick up the puck, or they forecheck on the guy. The second guy pick up the puck and they turn around like that. But that's the reason why happening at that one. Their first period, Montreal was skating very well with them. At the point, they was dominate at the first 9 minutes of the game, and then you got a power play right there, and then after that, you got a goal right away, where the screen from the net happening there. So that's happened.
Yeah, I think the things that before we came into the series, we said this might be the worst matchup for Montreal because both of them have got to this point. For Vegas, for example, we know during the regular season, every day is a playoff game for them. They play a very consistent puck pressure type of game. And when they lose the puck, there's a second and a third effort to try and get it back. So they don't waste forechecks. And when they do forecheck, they're on top of defenders. And we're seeing that that's their style in the playoffs. Montreal got to this point, I think, through the same style. So now you're like, okay, wait, they have the same style. What are we going to do here? And then it comes down to the matchups, right? And we just know Vegas is very, very deep. So I think that was what worked last night. It's a do-over. I think this thing that surprised me, and I realize you say that there were penalties and that Montreal stopped skating, but it seemed like they were having a really hard time with the speed of Vegas, which I thought was interesting. And I don't know if that was just because of a layoff or if there's just a difference between them.
Well, for me, it's like it was more about the fact, like the pressure of the forecheck and the check
And the
Vegas back off everything, right? So what happening when you have a forecheck? For me, when you do that, they expose the D, and Montreal have a difficult time. Now, it's not an excuse, but the fact they don't have Jeff Petrie make Montreal a little bit more difficult, and the defensive side. You can see Kulak and Kamana was exposed yesterday. He's great. He's a young kid, but he was on the ice 2 times on the goal. Gustafsson do his best he can, but Sharav is a good game. Weber, on the 3rd goal or the 4th goal was exposed in the corner, but because the pressure is coming. So when the pressure is coming, it's like a wave, right? The wave's coming.
Absolutely.
So it's coming every time. So the only way to do this is to be sure you have a quick turnover the puck and you go back to another way. So that's what for me is so how they can beat this is, again, it's a quick passing right away and then go there. I think I like a couple of things what Montreal did, but not good enough to hanging 60 minutes. The first 9 minutes, it was all over Vegas. You have 7 shots versus 1. Fleury make a 3-break big save. And then after that, Vegas get the momentum shift after the penalty at the beginning for Montreal. And then after that, you can see Vegas all the way after that. They play like solid game.
Yeah, I think that, we had this discussion again before, and my feeling has always been that Vegas wins because, yes, they have depth and they have some talent, but their effort on the puck is like relentless. And we see that during the regular season. We see that in the playoffs so far. And I think it's the forecheck is definitely aggressive. But for me, it's also like, look at Mark Stone leads the way. That's their captain. And he is a master. He's kind of like a big 6'3" guy that if he loses the puck, that big long reach is coming back to try and get it back from you. Like, second and the 3rd time, and they're pressuring the team to the wall. And I think that any team, you saw Colorado had such a hard time with it, and they just never quit on the puck. And then I think the other thing that we didn't talk about was those D. Whenever there was an entry by Montreal, and we see this in other series, the Vegas D are very confident. They step up and they're trying to force you to dump it in because they're very confident, I think, in their skating, and they want to pressure you. And there's back pressure. So it's like there's no give in their game.
But you can see when Montreal go close to Fleury, right? They are like at the beginning of the game, and then when they play 6 versus 5 for 3 minutes. So when they collapse, what happening with Vegas? They collapse with 5 big body in front of the net of Fleury. Fleury is more like I call this like a PlayStation goaltender, go down and then put the stick on the ice, and then everybody else push everybody. And that's happening there. So it's no chance a lot on that one over there. So for me, it's one thing they do very well on the defensive side. The collapse. If the puck go around Fleury, you can see those 5 bodies coming around you, and it's very difficult to score on that one over there.
Yeah, they are a difficult team to play against. It's going to be an exciting, tough series for Montreal. I think that the layoff probably actually, and we've seen this in prior series, helps Vegas. It's like Montreal kind of has been in the thick of it, and then they get a little bit of time off, and Vegas has not stopped. So I think Game 2 will be a little bit different. They'll be more prepared for the pressure, and hopefully we'll have a much tougher game.
Yeah, they have to adjust themselves, right? They have every game is important. Of course, if you back home at 2-0, it's not end of the world. But again, it was the first time I
go to the series.
No, but he can play home. But my point is like, this is the first time since over 18 months they play in front 18,000 people. They never play with anybody for all year long in Canada. The most they got is 2,500 people. 2,500 is not just because of that, but it's just like that's the first time they react in front of all the kind of people over there. So it's a lot of that period adjustment. But again, at the end of the day, you win game, you lose game, and you have to see what you learned from that game. And for me, it's more about the physicality for check of Vegas. About that, that was the big trend right there, where really Montreal cannot have no answer. They have no answer, nothing they can do about that. I think the third goal of the game killed them after Caufield scored on power play, and they scored 20 seconds after that. That was the turnover of the game for me. You can see after that, nothing could happen after that. But if this goal is not there, this is another lucky goal. That's a part of the game, part of the series, whereas the Tuch touch the Romanov skate, the bubble skate, the puck, and go on the stick of Janmark, where he did not touch it, just hit there, and then go behind Price. But that's happening during the series, and that's why you have to shoot the puck at some point in any direction. Carey Price makes
Vegas plays, right? They're not looking for anything fancy. They're just like, put the puck in, put the puck in.
But the at the end of the day, I think for me it's about Carey Price had a good game, so that's good news about that. So it's not like he did not give any bad goal yesterday.
No, I don't expect him.
Not at all. They have to win it. They've done that. So
let's acknowledge a few people that are on the chat. So first of all, we had Yarmo join us early on when you were trying to join. So Yarmo, thank you. I don't have any sound effects for you. I'm sorry. That's Pierre's territory. NHL hockey news reports. We really appreciate you spell checking me because I wrote it really quickly. My typos came out. Brian, thank you for all your comments and your participation. Stefan Manberg is in Sweden, correct? And then we had, of course, the legend himself, Carey Price, who I agree with you, Pierre. I think Carey played well last night. The one thing I did notice, though, is that, and I think we saw this in the first two series with Vegas. The challenge with Vegas last year was everything was straight on, and they were constantly looking for those tips in front and the junk. And what I think they've made a big adjustment this year was they realized is their D find that one seam that goes to the backdoor play. And I don't think that was ever in their repertoire before. And we saw last night that really got Carey moving a little bit. And I think that's what you got to do, because if you're just shooting straight on Carey Price all the time, you're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. I think for that part of what I would say to you also, if you watch the game the second time I watched it, they bring an F3 very high. So one Montreal, one it was 3-1 example. Most of the time you go to the blue line entrance for Vegas, you see three guys over there all the time, constantly three guys, 2 deep plus 1 forward all the time. So what happening there when they are on the offensive side? The F3 go high, that would bring the D to join the rush or go in the back door most of the time, because the F3 can spot changes the rotation with the forward with the D. So that was the big chance for me about Vegas. And again, they took advantage of the collapse of zone coverage from Montreal. I'm sure this 2D Montreal, the goal against Holden, the last goal, Kotkaniemi is with Weber in the corner. And Anderson, everybody's on the same side on the 2 times on the goal. Martinez goal fired was on the other side, on the right side. So that's part of the game, and that's happening.
I mean, those feel like things that the coaches sit there and analyze, and they come in and they tell the players, and the players either do or do not execute. And it seems like, they've got those top 4 in Vegas are pretty savvy. They've got a couple Stanley Cups on that blue line. They got a young guy in Theodore who's real talented offensively. So they're going to be looking for those opportunities. Brad Marchand says the Canadiens' power play is awful. They needed to set up, and instead of forcing everything. But I don't think that you're going to be able to set up that comfortably against Vegas. They're not going to be passive on the PK.
Well, if you find an area where Vegas struggle is on PK.
Is it?
They are only 77.8 on the playoff. They give a lot of goal. I found right away the first setup power play Montreal, they could not set up properly because the pressure of Vegas.
That's what I was saying.
Side, if they have the time to set up, they will beat them because they are too much running after the puck when they try to press too much. After you find a way the guy is alone, now they have to reset. And that's the reason why Caufield scored. He said, okay, it was an empty net, but he did what Tampa does, right? Suzuki to Perry to Toffoli. Toffoli hit the pad, and then Caufield got it. But it was a setup plan, so he was ready to do this. But until he cannot set up, that's the first power play. They struggled on the first one. They go in, but no setup. The second one set up, they'll be fine. They are 1-3 yesterday. But again, if you want to take advantage, is score on power play again Vegas, because it's going to be hard 5 versus 5.
I totally agree with you. Carey Price, you're right. Carey Price is not the problem in this series. He's the reason that they're there, and it's really up to Vegas to capitalize on opportunities they create. And we know Vegas, as we've been saying, they're going to try to create opportunities in the ways that we mentioned. Anthony Manzano was asked if we're surprised that Montreal's got this far, being a young team. I don't think they're that young, though. They have some young players, but they're definitely not that young, Anthony. Like, they have a veteran goaltender that's making $10 million a year. They got Shea Weber. They got Petrie. They got Edmondson. These are all veteran guys. Ben Sherrod is 29. And then on forward, we're seeing the younger forwards get in, which is great. And I'm excited about Caufield. He's showing that he can really play. Am I surprised they got this far? I think that we suspected all along that there were some weaknesses in that Canadian division. We knew about the D in Winnipeg. We knew about the depth in Edmonton. The psychology of Toronto.
Yeah, but I think what I want to what
good
you
as
said
anyone in
about
that
this will change is sentence where they are not young, but the young produce. Like Kokanemi have goal,
right.
As Caufield score now, he have a point, and Suzuki doing well. So the young ones step up, and that's what maybe I would say. Now, Montreal, they finished fourth, and something finished on the whatever the rank on each division. The problem, Montreal could finish top second of that division. It was the worst schedule for them compared to any other team on the North Division. After they got COVID, they played something like 45 days. They played 25 games, something like that. So they had no rest, nothing else. It's not an excuse, but
no, it's reality. I mean,
again, they could maybe have another 5, 6, 7 point there. Now they play the same level like in Montreal, everything like that. So, but again, that's what my point behind this is, like, what you see right now, or where they are at right now, is because it's not reflect the season, because of schedule, because it's fun thing happening during the season, and that's what they are. And again, I think, I cannot believe they beat Toronto after 3-1 right there, right? As a something like that. But again, Montreal have a lot of veterans. They've been there. They know how they win. And I'm pretty sure right now they talk about this, and you're going to see another fun team Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think they're going to
win, but you're going to find a way to be better, stronger against the Vegas.
Yeah, and I think that, if you look through the season, to me, Pierre, my point was, I think they were as good as anyone in the top 4 in that Canadian division. All of them had problems in their lineup. And when you bring Jack Campbell to a Carey Price party, you're probably going to have problems. And you don't have that extra weapon of a Tavares. And then you've got the psychology of being out the first round every year and the chirping of the media in Toronto. It all adds up. So, but I think, Montreal's as good. We don't give them credit. Like, they've got depth. They've got some different weapons. They don't have great center ice position, but we also undervalued a guy like Dano. Maybe Dano only gets 4 or 5 goals during the season, but that's not what he does best. He's winning faceoffs. He's tying up the other guy's top guy.
He had a good game yesterday, Dano.
He did.
He was both ways. He had a good chance to score yesterday. They shut down Petrojello. They shut down Pacioretty and the Stone line yesterday. So I think that's the good news for Montreal Canadiens, and we'll see after that. But still, like any other team, right there, they don't have that kind of center franchise we talk about with other teams. That's what part of it.
And I still maintain, I think that any of the teams coming out of the West, whether it was Colorado, even Minnesota, we're probably going to have less deficiencies than teams in the Canadian division. And I think the one thing Montreal really has that's better than anyone in that division, they got a stud goalie, and they have those 4 big D, and that we saw that won it out. And so it's going to be interesting, because if you look in the finals right now, Pierre, every team has depth, every team has goaltending, every team has 4 really good D that are probably really exceptional. And what's interesting is Colorado has 4 big D that are not that big physically.
Yeah, I think the fact they don't have Jeff Petrie does not help a lot. It's a little bit like he's a little bit what Theodore or Petrangelo is for Montreal, right? It's a guy who can carry on the puck. He's a transition one. He does not only the defensive side, so it's under the side, and they don't have enough. They don't have that kind of players, Montreal.
I agree.
They have a great on defensive, but not much carry on the puck. So that's what yesterday you don't have that kind of entrance and all the way, and that's another thing right there. It was not helping. You cannot use excuse injuries part of the game, right? But
no, everybody has injuries, and people.
When you lose one player like him, what he does a specific more like you don't have in the team. It's not Weber. It's not Sharia. It's not. They're going to carry on the puck.
Pull out one part, Pierre, and it's a problem for everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Gustafsson has to step up. I'm not sure what you're going to get out of Gustafsson. Do you think that make the playoffs next year with teams like the Panthers, Lightning? I personally would think they need to make some significant upgrades in a couple areas, but it's hard to say. I think that it's going to be real tough. I don't know. The Leafs are weird for me, Pierre. I don't really believe in the Leafs. I think the Bruins are going to be a lot tougher if they keep Hall. That would be kind of my thought.
I'll be interesting about that. I think on that team, I think the Panthers are the players he named there, the team he mentioned. I think the Panthers are the ones going to step up more to any other team. I think Leaf have a big problem on the goaltending situation, and also I don't know how they're going to fix Hyman situation over there. On the Bruins side, the problem they're losing Rask, so that will be a big piece of the puzzle over there. To see what happened there. Now the Chris Chick and Hall is another problem with there. The Lightning is looking great, but they have to take a lot of big decisions after that. They're not going to have Kucherov, Stamkos on the parking lot waiting until the playoffs start, right? So they have to lose at least Killorn, Cord, or Johnson.
Someone's got to go.
Or something like that. So you can see those teams. On the flip side, Panthers, what you do, you just add more better hockey players and the group they have already. So that's a difference between, like losing where you don't have, what you have. So I think the Panthers is going to be a team right there. It's going to be very surprised for me next year.
Yeah. So I think for me, the other big news that I want to touch on, we've talked a lot about this series. The next game is tomorrow night. Tonight we've got Tampa versus the Islanders. The first game I thought showed what the Islanders are capable of, but I think we still have yet to see the best of Tampa.
Like I said, I think the work ethic was there, the execution was there. It's just the mindset, like what John Cooper expressed after the game, they was not there. And sometimes it's just like a mistake like that. Or the game is 2-1. You cannot blame, you not say like, well, we was bad, right? Or we have to do something. The only thing I have to do, Michael, is to go back tonight, exactly what they did Monday, and they're going to find a way to score. And I think the second goal of Vasilevsky, would like to see it again. It was a bad goal from him, obviously. But you're going to see a little bit, but nothing will change on the Islanders. They're going to play the same game they played.
Same game, man.
Playoff. They will not change anything. They will go on your face. They will check you. They will back checking. They will pay the price. That's what we're going to see. So Tampa Bay have to take advantage a little bit more about the power play and then the 5 versus 5. But I think Tampa Bay did try too much. Like they did not shoot. Try to get a pass on the back door where the lane is blocked all the time by the stick of Islanders. So less fancy and shoot the puck and crash to the net. I think that will be the key for the Tampa Bay to beat Islanders because the Islanders don't give you much about that. But again, can Varlamov play or go like he did for his game? That would be my question because they was his best game of the playoff.
And I think it's a great question because he's had some not great games in the playoffs. And Tampa is going to sit there, break it down, and they got a lot of weapons, as we know, and they're going to try to figure out how to move the guy and put some more pucks in the net. I don't think you're going to stone Tampa for an entire series.
Yeah. So it will be interesting about that for sure. about this. I think in this series right now, I think Tampa cannot go back and your calendars, because I believe if they go back 0-2, that would be 3-1, 3-2, and Islanders win at home in 6 games. So there's a big game. Usually we say 1, 3, 5 are most important, but I think right now, because Tampa where they at, I think there's a big game for them tonight. And for Islanders, they get out with 2. That'd be impressive.
Hi, Johnny Golden. Thanks for joining us today. We also had Bud the Monkey join us in earlier, and he was making some comments, so we appreciate that. Brad Marchand says, who is going to win the Selke Trophy?
Mark Stone.
That's what I'm thinking. We saw it last night, right, Pierre?
Yeah, I think that will a little bit influence, maybe not, but I think Frank right now, Barkov is great. First nomination, I believe, from him and a Selke. Bergeron been there, but I think for what he did, Mike Stone, all over with consistency from the beginning of the year. In the past, he was really more on the offensive side. The guy can score 30 goals if he's done that right. But this year, we see more the defensive, more his highlights of a two-way players. His highlight, he's a better, stronger on defensive side. And Mark is my pick. I don't say he's going to win, but I really believe he's going to win this one.
I think that we've overlooked this guy as a defensive player his whole career. And he's not a great skater, Pierre. So people look at him, and he plays kind of on the wing offensively, and he does get his points. He's a big guy. But really, he doesn't quit on the puck, and he's always going to pressure the other team and create turnovers. And I think that's the big thing for him. And I just think we're seeing it, and they're appreciating what he does. And I just think it's his year to win it. Would you make any lineup changes for the Habs?
Not really. Well, you don't have anything to add more. Like Jake Evans is still hurt. Jeff Petrie is hurt. So and John Morrill, you don't have anybody to. Oh, this is going to change anything. I don't see one plus yesterday say, oh, he was so bad, we need to remove him because of that part over there. It's more the concept of to play as a line per line. And I think, yesterday, for me, it would be more interesting if they can use the 4 line against their 3rd line. That thing that we're helping more Montreal because I don't think so Kotkaniemi can handle that line. You can see yesterday. And I think right now at home, because I have a little bit more advantage, right? And you can see
Tuch is crazy.
And I think like Peter Tober said, you know what? Bring me Dano, I will bring you Stone. I'm not worried about that because my line 2, 3, and 4 is going to be your line number 3 and 2.
Yeah.
So that's what I see this. I did not change Peter Tober. If you watch him, he did not try to change Pacioretty versus Dano yesterday. By the way, Pacioretty had a bad game yesterday. That line on the defensive side, they are really bad. Whatever, you have a couple of chances, right? Compared to other lines, what he was pretty good.
Yeah, so they should borrow Connor McDavid. Well, we saw they could probably beat them.
I don't
see anything changing with this line personally. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I apologize, Johnny. First of all, welcome aboard. I think change on the roster, not the change the line. I apologize. That's maybe what he was looking for. It could happen. I think they need to find where Josh Anderson have to produce. Right now he is on the 12 forward you have right now, right? He's the one supposed scoring more what he has right now. But you don't have a lot to place to change. The only thing I would say, I would try maybe Josh Anderson on the left side and bring Lekonen with Biron and Kotkaniemi, and the forward, the intensity of John Anderson with Dano and Gallagher. That would be the right spot. I would not change Suzuki, and I think right now the line style is pretty good. So if you want to change the puzzle, it will be the only one of that one over there. I would not bring Paul Biron with Dano. And so if you want to change only one, Anderson with Lekonen back over there. Biron can play on the right side. They couldn't play on the left. It's a little bit better helping also Kotkaniemi on that line. That's what I can see.
I think what we see about Josh Anderson since late in the season is he scores north-south. He's a big body that's really fast, but those lanes disappear in the playoffs. Those are the first lanes to disappear. Everyone's trying to force everyone to the wall and try to make them have to go east-west or to look for seams, and that's just not his game.
Now he become the butt head, or not a butt head, the everybody like in Montreal now, they just jump on his head right now because he cannot score. Like everybody is mad about that. But I'll be honest with you. One thing I see, when the players don't score, Michael, if they don't have no opportunities, I'm concerned. But when you have a guy like him yesterday, I have 2 chances to score yesterday. One, it was Fleury make a big mistake. So we want a guy working hard, a guy can hit the guy in the corner. For me, I cannot see why to blame him. You know what I mean? Why to put him down negative like that? So for me, it's not what I see. I think he's a guy right now in the slump, cannot put a puck behind the goaltender. But I like his work ethic. I like what he's tried. I think right now a change like Johnny, maybe Johnny's right. Maybe bring him up with Daniel Gallagher. Nothing wrong to try hit one period after the game, see what he look like, and now changing. I think that would be good for me. I think that would be one option for him.
Any update on Petrie? I don't think he's planning to play.
I don't know. The practice is too early right now, but yesterday he was still on the non-contact jersey with Evans and Muriel. But we'll see what happens. They fixed the glove right now. They try it. So if he can play, you won't see him tomorrow at the game.
Brian says that Pax Ready's patio ready, but I don't think that's true. I think that Vegas ain't going anywhere. All right, we only have a little bit of time left, so I do want to touch on the report that the New York Rangers are set to hire Gerard Gallant. I don't know if he's actually signed a contract yet as the new head coach.
Yeah, it's done deal. I got the news this morning. It's a 4-year contract at $3.5 million per year. So he got about like $14 million. Very low. I thought he would get that more.
Really? That's pretty high, I thought.
Kenville has $7 million, and those guys are $5 million now. Vigneault are $5 million, I believe. Those guys have like $4, $5, $6 million. So I thought it was a little bit low at 3.5, but at the end of the day, I'm sure for him it's not matter what he has already. But
I don't know if that's quite right, though. I think, let me just take a look at this. If you take a look at it looks like the highest paid coach is kind of in that $5 million range. You've got to think that he would get more than Dallas Eakins, though.
Well, that's my point about that one over there, right? You can see the money grow a lot the last couple of years, right? Compared to, like Babcock opened the door at $5 million a couple of years ago, and then you can those $5 million contract a lot after that. For me, I thought for the kind of coach he is at 3.5, but no, I like the deal. I like where he is. I think is a great place for him. Great place for the New York Rangers.
Pierre,
in 9 years,
a ridiculous team, isn't he?
I'm sorry again.
He's getting a ridiculously good team for the next 4 years.
Yeah, my concern about him, I'll be honest with you, is like I do some search yesterday. It's okay, why? And then I realized he never win in playoff.
Well, Vegas went on a bit of a run, didn't
That's only a year he has.
Yeah, but if you look at the other teams, so he had Florida, which there was always issues in Florida on the roster, and definitely in Columbus was a very short period of time and a bit of a mess. So and he's looking
at 9 years, only 3 times in the playoff.
Right, and I think I'm not sure if I think that's a big problem for him. I watched him win a Memorial.
I don't say it's a problem. I just was surprised to see him only 3 times in the 9 years. We have a percentage of 550 as a coach on the regular season, right? So he's 270 at 216 is career. So I think at the end of the day, I think he was pretty good. But again, I was just surprised by him to see him on the playoff side.
He seems to have a shelf life of 3 years, so it's interesting that he got a 4-year contract. In Vegas, you can see progressively he had a better record with each team, and he won 16 games, 11 losses in playoffs. He's right around his regular season. I'm not too worried about that because he has, like, you can see they did make some progress. But I think
I'm not worried. My point is, like,
I think he's a real good coach.
My only thing I would say to you is, like, he got fired twice where he deserved to get fired. That's maybe the reason he got only 3 years. It was like his fault. Florida fired him for nothing, and then after that, Vegas fired him again for with Brad McCrimmon about, again, that's for no reason again there. So we'll see. He's getting with a great team and go from there after that.
Yeah, he's going to have a phenomenal group of players to work with. Pierre, we have 5 minutes left. Unfortunately, I will have to bounce. What's your call on the game tonight between Tampa and the Islanders?
Tempo 4-3. I think they will be back tonight, normal about that. I think there will be a lot of good thing about this. A lot of people and the chat right now. Oleg, welcome. Anderson, Philly, Kelly, Biron, Likanen. Yeah, I think it is the right thing about that one there. But the Monkey, absolutely, he was great coach over there with the Florida Panthers. So that's really, really happening there. I have Anthony Manzano. I have a lot of questions for you, Michael. I don't know if you see him.
He did. He was asking mainly about what moves the Panthers should make. He mentioned Malkin or Laine. I don't see Malkin leaving Pittsburgh. Do you?
No, the discussion about Malkin, it was, if I have to go, I go only in Florida, because I think he have a no clause or something like that. So the rumor was, if I go, I would only accept to go in Florida.
I just don't understand why people don't appreciate that guy. I realize he's had injury problems, but he's an elite player. Like, he's way better than people give him credit for. And I think without him, they don't win any of those cups.
And again, I would not touch any players of that caliber to bring in Florida. I think the Florida problem is not there. The Florida problem right now is the bottom six over there and the defenseman on the left side. And that's what you need to looking for. The rest, they have it. Lundell's coming. They have a lot of prospect inside that organization. I would not change, like, spend $8, $9, $10 million on someone where he's 32 years old, maybe Laine, but you bring a baggage of problem with Laine, so you don't touch it. It's the same thing with Jack Eichel come to Florida. You don't touch those stuff like that every time. It's just like only one, maybe I would say a winger at some point, maybe a $4, $5, $6 million cheaper, can score 20 to 30 goals over there. I think that we're helping them. But they have Tippett step up. Lundell's coming. Darren Cinco is close to become a regular in that league over there. And they just need the for me, it's the patch, the patch, the team, like piece of the patch, like piece of the pie. That you don't need a big name. They have already. They have Barkov. They have Huberdeau over there. Orvis over there. Eggblad over there. And so for me, that would be the way to do this with the Panthers at that moment. At least something happened. You know what I mean? Like a pass snack or something like that, right? But
if you look at the moves that they've made to this point, it would not surprise me, because I think they look for value in players and they try to build around those core guys. I think Sam Bennett for a full year will be very interesting to see, because we see when he's motivated and in a position to produce that he can do that at a very high level. And can he do that over an 80-game season will be very impactful for Florida. The one name that keeps popping in my head is Blake Coleman. So I kind of think that if you can get him for a similar number,
exactly, that's the way right there. You know, you talking about Coleman. In my head, I'm thinking about, and I cannot figure out someone like him, but a player like Kevin Fiala.
Right.
I don't know who is free right now, but a type of player like Kevin Fiala, I think that would be a great asset for the Florida Panthers. The only interrogation, Michael, is okay. Can Verheugen can score 18 goals? Can Veterano can score against 17, 18 goals? Right? So that would be my other things. But when you play with Barkov, you're going to score a goal anyway. So I'm not worried too much about Carter Verhey. But again, I think that's a piece of puzzle they're missing.
I would agree with you, Pierre. Pierre, we're going to wrap it for the day. Is there any final thought?
I think for Montreal is to reviewing the game and make not much change, but to permit now they see what they look like, and they have to readjust. On the flip side, Vegas continue what you're doing. They will continue. For tonight, I'm interested to see how Tampa is going to react again. Islanders. That's the biggest thing about that one over there. And all the news we got for you guys, I have for you guys this morning, I will bring to you tomorrow. Michael, I have about 8 signatures. I want to talk about the big one from Ottawa. It was a pretty good one.
What was the one in Ottawa?
By the way, Bastian signed a new contract with New Jersey this morning. Is it Nicola Bastian or Nick Bastian? 23 years old. He was his first full year with the New Jersey Devils this year.
Nathan Bastian. Yeah, I don't know a lot about him.
Yeah, so he's registering to a two-year contract. This was done at 9 o'clock this morning. But you have a rookie on the Ottawa. I think it was a goaltender. I'm not remember exactly, but I will bring it to you tomorrow. John Gregor, thank you so much, everybody. A lot of people this morning. We welcome you.
A lot of people. Thank you so much.
We apologize for the delay or the mistake with it was working. The problem was I cannot bring Michael and the show this morning. Sorry, it was stuck in the supporter, so I don't know what's going on here. So it's all good anyway. Thank you so much, everybody. Michael, anything else?
No, I'm excited about the game tonight.
Awesome, everybody. Have an amazing, great Tuesday. We're going to be live 7:45 tonight for the game number 2 between the New York Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightnings. And I will see you there tonight.